Finally, there's some snow on the ground here in Halifax, which means I'm gonna have a really fun bike ride into work. This morning, of course, the weapon of choice, the silver tri-cross, with 29er tires on it. It's always fun days where I get to pull a bunch of pressure out of tires and just try and ride through about 20 centimeters deep of snow. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I have no idea how much pressure that is, but it's the right amount. I think that a fair bit of you would be a little bit surprised at how easy this is, but without actually experiencing it yourself, it's hard to like really explain how much a bike doesn't really have any issue going through snow. It just cuts right through it. I mean, yeah, I'm working a little harder. You could probably hear that in my breath. But it's easier to ride on the snow that hasn't been walked on than it is to ride on the stuff that people have walked on. This doesn't throw you around. The weird patterns that shoes make, they throw you around. Although at this section, the party's kind of over. Well, I gave it my best to get up this climb, covered in a ton of snow, but that's a bit too much of a challenge for me and these tires this morning. Like I got a special parking spot made for them. What? I absolutely love riding in the snow. I don't really know exactly why. I mean, I guess there's a few different reasons, but man, it is so fun. It's just kind of difficult. Not a lot of people want to do it. And I mean, your bike just looks so funny when you get wherever you're going. Here, I'll show you. Now I know that after showing that ride this morning and showing you my bike in here that there's going to be probably a pretty fair amount of questions about riding through snow. So instead of answering those in the comments, I'm going to try and kind of think of what questions you might have and answer them now, and then we'll see what happens in the comments after. But pretty cool, right? And honestly, I think the first point that I would like to make about riding a bike through like winter conditions like I just did today is it's really hard to beat being able to ride your bike to wherever you're going and then bring it inside for it to thaw. if when I got to work this bike had to live outside, the ride home would be absolutely hateful because everything would just be frozen and nothing would work. I'm super lucky because I get to bring my bike inside to work. Also, there's been a lot of questions in the comments in previous videos about like what it is that I'm wearing in all the videos on my commute on the bike. And then there's a few of you who sort of speculate about whether or not I have something that's like super high tech. I'll be totally honest with you. This morning I wore this cotton thin sweater with a t-shirt under it and my ripped Fox jacket. It's just I don't know what type of Fox jacket this is. I tried to look it up for you guys. I can't find the model anywhere. I usually wear just a cotton sweater under that. Keeps me relatively warm. Gloves, whatever gloves are dry, like I said in a previous video before. I wore my Cadence Raw denim jeans this morning with nothing under them but a set of boxers. And yes, I do wear my Giro Rumble VR shoes with just normal socks, nothing else. And yes, my feet do get incredibly cold on very cold, windy days. Nothing I wear is very special whatsoever. I just have a high amount of tolerance for stubborn practices on the bike. But it keeps me from having to spend too much money. I'll get into this a little bit further, but right now, kind of priority one is unfortunately having to continue finishing this triathlon bike. Also, I'm not going to show any of that because it's just kind of boring work. I promise I'll continue and get into more detail about winter riding a little bit on that bike or just in bikes in general. You just got to give me a little bit of time to finish that thing because it is the thing that's going to make the shop some money. It's gone. It's always fun to work on a really expensive project from time to time, but they can be time-consuming, somewhat stressful, and just overall, well, kind of annoying. Okay, so back to what I wrote in this morning. This is it. You're seeing it. Cotton hoodie, this hat that I made, a neck warmer, these Giro Rumble shoes, these Cadence jeans, a very cool pair of hot chili pepper socks, hence why my feet stay so warm, these glasses, the same pair of earrings I'm always wearing, and a beard. And to top it all off, this absolutely mangled and ripped jacket from Fox. Now I kind of went over this subject before in another video, but I didn't name it that. So it's not like you would know for sure, but I kind of went into depth a little bit about it in the video about Colin's bike. The video is called I Really Like This Hardtail Mountain Bike. It's linked here. But I didn't really realize that you guys actually kind of wanted to like know a little bit about how I ride in the winter. And I think that for a lot of you, it's going to be a slight bit of a letdown in the fact that I don't have anything that makes my life easier for riding in the winter. The absolute best thing that I have going for me throughout the winter or throughout any season is the fact that I get to bring my bike inside so that it can thaw and it can dry like it is right now. See, at this time of day, it's totally dry, and if I wanted to throw some lube on the chain, it's pretty well ready to go. That's why my bikes last as long as they do, especially with the beating that I give them. But beyond that, I take no precautions to make my life easier when it comes to riding in the winter. Really, the biggest decision that I made for today to make my life easier was take tire pressure out of that bike. Actually, admittedly, I did bring a change of clothes today just in case I did get soaked enough that I needed to change. But I didn't need to change, and they're still in my bag. Now, I worry that everything I'm saying right now makes me come across as the type of person who neglects or totally ignores or abandons all of the like cool techie gear that you can get for winter riding or riding in general. That's not the case at all. I do want to make it very clear that I love race kit, I love riding gear, I love everything about all that stuff, but for me it isn't convenient, and really convenience is kind of all I go for. Even if I have to suffer in a miserable situation for a little while to have that convenience. If I have to get here with wet shoes and socks and wet jeans and probably wet underwear, then so be it, in my mind. I can totally understand why, like, you might not want to go down that route because, yeah, sitting here for 3 hours with wet jeans on can suck. A lot of times I just sit in front of a space heater to try and warm up and get things dried out. And other days I actually do sometimes put the effort into, like, bringing a change of clothes. Of course, this is the one day that I didn't need to change. But anyway, I think it comes across in these videos that I'm wearing something that's somewhat unobtainable to some of you, and I still stay in high spirits when I get to work drenched. I think what you need to keep in mind is that I am cold, I am drenched, my feet are freezing, my hands aren't warm, and I'm suffering a little bit, but I wait about like 4 to sometimes 8 hours between the time that I shoot the scene of when I get here to when I start talking to the camera again. Sometimes I just pretend that that time didn't go by. So keep that in mind. Not everything I do is like totally in line. Like sometimes I shoot different things at different times and stitch it together to make sure that it makes sense and that the day might have gone that way. I'm certainly no commuting superhero. In fact, I'm probably one of the worst commuters of all time. It's just, I don't like bringing a lot of stuff with me. Although it is fun to see some of your assumptions in the comments about some of the stuff that I ride, and you think I'm kind of doing things the right way. I can assure you, I am not. Okay, it's that time of day where I leave and try and segue well into the scene where I leave the store. And the way I want to do that today is by addressing the point of everything that I've just said. Okay, I think I know the way I'm going to tie this all together. Now, I wanted to make this video for 2 reasons. One, because riding a cross bike in the snow is hilarious and really fun. And 2, is to address those comments and like the thoughts that I'm thinking a lot of you are having about going out and riding in less than desirable weather, like snow, rain, and all that good stuff. I can't help but feel like some of you who are watching, not necessarily commenting, but some of you that are watching might think that I'm only able to go out and ride because I have nicer stuff, or I have better gear, or I have things that are going to keep me drier, or things that are going to keep me warmer, or that I own things in general that are just going to absolutely heighten my bike riding experience in the snow or rain much higher than yours based on what you own. And with this video, I hope that I can show you that I don't have anything that makes riding out in cold, wet weather any better than anyone else. In fact, I pretty well go out of my way to make myself even more miserable, maybe a little bit for this vlog, and another because I'm just stubborn and I don't learn my lesson until, you know, something bad happens. And what I'm hoping you take away from this is, if you want to go out and ride, or you want to go out and go for a run, or you want to go out and do anything, and you're letting the things that you have keep you from doing that, well, don't let it. Okay, I think I got what I needed there. I hope it was heartfelt, and I hope that it gets at least one of you out to go ride this winter. Unless you're in Arizona. You know, you guys who comment from Arizona. Full disclosure, these have been sitting in front of the space heater all day, so they are super toasty right now. They won't be in about 5 minutes, but as of right now, very warm. Feet still warm from residual heat. hands a little bit cold.
Marching and April showers make way for everything flowers, and then comes you, a moon and you. Marching and April showers make way for happy hours and May time, June time, love time.
Going around the trainway gates ought to be interesting with all this snow on the ground. See, it's completely full of snow again, and that's why you let it live by a dehumidifier. Hey, where do you think you're going? A frisbee? One up. Say goodbye. Say goodbye to everybody.